Last Night in Soho is Edgar Wright's first movie since Baby Driver over 4 years and stars Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy. An aspiring fashion designer with a sixth sense goes back in time to the 1960s during her slumber, but soon realizes this time travel has dark consequences. It feels like forever ago since the last time we got an Edgar Wright movie, Baby Driver. That was my favorite movie of 2017. I cannot believe it's been over 4 years since that movie, but of course, Last Night in Soho is Edgar Wright's newest film. A year ago, before it was delayed, my prediction was that Last Night in Soho would be a hot commodity come Oscar season, and after seeing the movie, the chances are still pretty good that Last Night in Soho gets several Oscar nominations, all in the technical department, because technically speaking, Last Night in Soho is a masterwork. Everything from the set design, to the hair and makeup, to the wardrobe, to even the cinematography, it's all really well done. Some of the best technical work I've seen in a movie in 2021. That does not shock me at all. Edgar Wright, with each of his films, has a vision, and with Last Night in Soho, it was obvious that he wanted to make you feel like you were transported back in time to the 1960s. Plus, if you're an Edgar Wright movie buff and you love the music choices he selects for the soundtracks of his movies, the same goes for Last Night in Soho. I'm sure you're going to love the soundtrack in this movie. I had never heard of most of these songs before seeing Last Night in Soho, and after checking it out, I would love to listen to the ones he picked for this movie more often. He did a really good job once again at picking some great songs. When it comes to the movie's leads, I found Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy equally great. There is not a single bad performance in this movie. Even Matt Smith, who, believe it or not, this is the first time I've seen the guy in a movie, despite knowing him for like 5 years. I have no idea how this is the first movie I've actually seen him in, but everyone's really good, especially in the horror scenes that are featured in Last Night in Soho, as well as the usual funnier scenes in an Edgar Wright movie. And obviously I have to mention this about director Edgar Wright. We know the movies that he typically makes. They are satirical, there is tons of humor, they're fast-paced. But for him, Last Night in Soho is a complete 180. This is not a comedy-oriented action-adventure film. It's more so a horror thriller. I must also mention it came out during the perfect time around Halloween, 2 days before. There is a Halloween scene in the film, which makes me wonder why they didn't have this movie come out around Halloween back in 2020 when it was originally scheduled to come out. Though for Edgar Wright, this is a different direction, and a direction that I welcomed. I like when directors aim outside their comfort zone, and this movie in particular is unlike any Edgar Wright movie we've gotten so far. However, this is an Edgar Wright movie, and I had high expectations going into it, coming off the great Baby Driver. Does this movie live up to those expectations? Well, no, it doesn't. I find it a little disappointing for an Edgar Wright movie. It just kind of becomes this black swan ghost story, and while I enjoyed a majority of the scares in Last Night in Soho, a big portion of the second half is literally just all jump scares slash Thomasin McKenzie running from ghosts. We go through a large amount of scenes that focus on Thomasin McKenzie experiencing a panic attack, and this thing lasts close to 45 minutes. Imagine watching that. So in a way, it made me go crazy because it did feel like Black Swan, where there's constant jump scares and horror elements, especially in the second half. But Last Night in Soho is still a masterpiece on a technical scale as well as with its performances, and there's even this cool twist included at the end. For a Wright movie, it's not as good, but I can still see myself watching this movie many more times in the future, and I'm giving Last Night in Soho a 77%. Alright, for those of you who also happen to see Last Night in Soho this weekend so far, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are of it. And as always, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.